The Office Troubleshooter is fantastic. This is the 25th episode of the second season of the Doris Day Show. This is directed by Coby Ruskin. And this is an episode where we have no Buck, no Toby and Billy, but actually it's still pretty brilliant. And there will be spoilers from this point on as I go into detail about the episode and things that I particularly loved. So the Colonel has hired an efficiency expert, and this is Jarvis. And I didn't recognise him. It's Willard Jarvis, played by Billy Wolfe, and I didn't recognise him until Doris pointed out that he's the guy from the electric company. And I loved this character. A couple of episodes ago, actually quite a few episodes ago now, Doris had an issue with a check with the electric company, and Jarvis was a very interesting character. So I was really pleased to have him brought back. This is a big contrast compared to my opinion of the previous episode, The Duke Returns, where we had the return of another character, Duke. I really didn't like that episode. I didn't care for that character. But Jarvis, very happy to see him back. And he goes around making comments on the way people do their work, obviously to try and improve efficiency. And basically everybody does something that, in his eyes, they shouldn't be. Myrna is saying how relaxed it is, and various characters are on the phone and making personal phone calls, and obviously nobody is happy with this. And there was one moment that I really loved, because I really didn't expect it, is when he'd revealed that he'd been bugging everybody's offices. And this includes getting a phone call, capturing a phone call that Doris took. And Doris lost it. She was almost angry. And it's very rare that we see Doris being angry. She might be a little bit disgruntled at times, but I could see the anger in her eyes, and it was just so unexpected and really very well done. To be honest, she felt very similar with the first time she met Jarvis, so it must just be something about this character that definitely rubs her up the wrong way. And they decide that they have to do something about this, and I'll be honest, I don't love what they decided to do. When they said they were going to put vodka in his water, I kind of thought I don't like the sound of that. But actually, it played out really well. What I thought would happen is that he'd be drunk, and people higher up at Today's World would notice this and fire him, and I don't know, maybe bring somebody else in to do the efficiency audit. But no, he just got a little bit happier and slightly addicted to the water cooler, and ended up saying all of the things wrong that are done higher up the business. And I love that. I'm not saying every business does this, but there are a lot of businesses, a lot of companies that will look down on their employees as thinking they're taking too many breaks, or how awful it is if they arrive 1 minute late after lunch. But when you look at the top levels, there are a lot of people wasting time, taking money from the company, and this is exactly what we see here. And I think they did a really good job of getting the message across, and by that point, I liked Jarvis. I love Jarvis as a character, but by that point, I liked who he was as well. And Doris was really warming to him as well, because he was turning things around and showing that actually what the workers at Today's World do is nothing compared to the time and money wasted further up the chain. And I just thought it was brilliant. So in all, it's a really funny episode, really well done, but with a really important message as well about where you actually need to point the finger. And if you're going to audit staff for efficiency, make sure it's the entire staff, further up the chain as well. The Office Troubleshooter is a really brilliant episode, and I'm glad, because the previous episode I did not care for. But thankfully, the episodes of the Doris Day Show that I don't like are so few and far between. And while I tend to prefer the episodes with Buck, Toby and Billy, I have to say this one was pretty fantastic, and one of my favourites in quite a while. The Office Troubleshooter is pretty awesome.